All right, everybody. What's up, everybody? I'm going to give it a second and give people an opportunity to get on before I start answering questions. And I also want to go live on Instagram. Let's see. Um, da, 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 da. Look, I got it all together today. Look, the other day when I went live, for some reason, I couldn't go live on Facebook. But I got it today. Look, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on TikTok and Instagram. Look, we cook with grease. We cook with grease. What's up, everybody? If you're new here, welcome. If you can't stay the whole time, please know that. Oh, I'm on the wrong Instagram. Lord, I'm on the wrong Instagram page. I'm on my private Instagram page. Please know that all of the lives, for the most part, are recorded unless said otherwise. So this one is being recorded, and you will be able to find it on YouTube if you can't stay the entire time, or if you just kind of want to go back and watch it later. You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel at WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? It's also live right now on my Facebook page as well as in my Facebook group. So you can check it there also if you're not a YouTube head. But I try to make it so that you all can no. I try to make it so that you all can watch these later. So I try to describe them accordingly and things like that. Today we're going to be talking about the dispute process. A lot of people have been telling me how they are excited to start the actual dispute process. They're going to be fixing their credit on their own, but they're still kind of confused on what to expect, the kind of things that they're going to see. Hey girl, the kind of things that they're going to see once they start disputing and things like that. So let's talk about the dispute process in and of itself. And of course, as always, if you guys have questions, you can put them in the comments and I'll answer them while I'm talking. That's what I'm here for. Let me check to make sure I don't have no starting questions. All right, so let's go. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Markia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. And I use all the information I got up here to help you guys, right? Because even if you can't afford to have somebody to fix your credit, everybody deserves to have good credit, regardless of what your income and your expenses look like. So that is one of the reasons why I am so passionate about what I do and providing you all with the most accurate information. Hey, Sandy. So that's the biggest thing. Now, everybody, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you all know how I feel about disputing online. I hate people disputing online. A lot of us don't read the fine print when we get to disputing online and stuff. A lot of us aren't paying attention to the really small words at the bottom when we're just making accounts online for these credit bureaus, and for these creditors who have you log into these portals so that you can dispute the account information and things like that. You're not really understanding what you're doing when that happens. And so my job is to make you aware of all of your options so that you can make the best decision for yourself. If, like I said, if you guys got any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. Not you're not gonna be making fun of my accent. It is too early in the month for you to be doing this. But the reason why I do not like you guys disputing online is because you waive some of the rights given to you by the FCRA. So, for example, if you submit an online dispute and you say the reason for you disputing is because the information is reporting inaccurately, and then they come back and say, nope, it's reporting accurately, how will you then redispute? Because online, it's not going to give you the option to redispute those results. You're going to be stuck with those results and they won't be able to you won't be able to keep going. Not if I see a Pepsi, I'm logging off. On my neck. No, I don't have a Pepsi today. I actually don't have anything here to drink, which I need. I'm doing good. My sugar, my numbers were actually low today, so shout out to me, pat me on the back, right? But when you guys are sending in these letters, now I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm on a time crunch and I'm not about to be sending in all these letters. I'm not about to do all this. I'm not about to do all that. When you send in these letters, it's for a reason. Sending in these letters, number one, anything in writing is considered a legally binding document, and you have a copy of things that you sent as well as you have your copy of whatever they sent you. So in the event that you guys end up going to court or you have to file a complaint, you have everything that you need to substantiate your claim that the information was not reporting accurately or was not valid, and they tried to report it anyway. So, that's one of the benefits of, sending your letters in snail mail. Also, we try to capitalize on the amount of time that they legally are required to respond to us. We try to capitalize on that to get removals as well. So I just honestly, all around, I just think that disputing via snail mail is the best way to go, simply because it's the easiest in a sense. Now I know a lot of you are here for, like, you all about convenience and doing things online, but you got to ask yourself, who is it more convenient for? Is it more convenient for you, or is it more convenient for the company if you are using their systems to dispute certain information? So just kind of keep stuff like that in mind when you guys are making that decision. Now, the very first letter that you guys should be sending in is your personal information update letter. And the reason why is this is the information that these companies are using to tie this information to you. So by cleaning up your personal information, you're making it so that all of the old information that they probably saw, so all of your old addresses, all of your old names, if you've been married a couple of times, like me, right? If you've been married a couple of times, or if you've just changed your name legally a couple of times, if you've moved around a lot, all of these old addresses and stuff are how debt collectors add debt to your profile or validate debt on your profile. So by cleaning this information up, without committing fraud, by the way, you make it harder for them to do their job. Question: once you pay a collection, how long can it stay on the report as a paid in full collection? Paying any account, this goes for a collection or a charge off, paying anything resets the reporting time. That is the only thing that can reset the reporting time, is a payment. And it will stay on your credit report for 7 years from the date of last payment. Now, when it comes to removing addresses and things like that, and then the whole not committing fraud thing, I know a lot of you have been seeing, hold on. Does the clock start when you mail it off? What determines the time frame? So it's all about when they receive it. So obviously you're guessing if you did not send your letter certified. I always say give them a week. A week after you send your letter out, that's typically when you should start the clock, because you've given them time to receive the letter, open the letter, and start processing your dispute. And they have, because of COVID, they have 45 business days to respond. A lot of people think it's calendar days, but it's actually business days. So excluding holidays and weekends, y'all. Please make sure you're keeping that in mind. Now, when disputing your personal information, you don't, if it was you, like if you lived at this address at some point in your life, then you really don't want to be like, that's not me. That's lying, right? Technically, that's you committing fraud. And one thing about me is I don't do jail time, so I'm not going to tell you to say that. However, what I will say is you need to be able to cast a shadow of a doubt on the information that they're reporting. So, for example, if one of the addresses they're reporting is an address that you had when you were staying with your parents, you can say, hey, I would like this address removed. This is not an address of mine. This is my parents' address. I do not live there. My parents have lived there for X amount of years. That's, I have not lived there for X amount of years. This needs to be removed from my credit profile, right? You want to say, you want to tell them that this address does not belong to me. It belongs to an aunt or a cousin or a sister or a brother, but this is not my address. And therefore, I believe that I am a victim of a merged credit file. Pretty much what you're trying to do is, like I said, cast a shadow on a doubt on the information that they're actually reporting. You don't want to be lie and be like, none of this information is me, take it all off. No, you also have to leave some information reporting. You need at least a previous, if you lived in more than one place, obviously you have a previous address. You're going to need one reporting. You need a current address reporting. Obviously you live somewhere now. Make sure you have a current address reporting. You need your name reporting. Now, I personally took my maiden name and my previous married name off of my credit file simply because I have no open accounts or even closed accounts anymore that tie to those names. And so I really did not want those names on my credit file. So me personally, I removed those. You don't have to. That was just a personal preference. But the names that you have reporting and the addresses that you have reporting all need to be what you have reporting to any open accounts. I also tell people that before you start disputing your personal information, any open accounts you have currently, so like open credit cards that you're paying on and using now, maybe like a car loan that you have open, student loans and things like that, any accounts that you're actively making payments on, you want to make sure that you update them as well. They should be the first ones updated with the most recent contact information, and have them remove any old information about you out of their system. And the reason why is if you start doing your personal information updates, right? And and you never updated your information with them, and they are still reporting every month and they report old information, the old information is just going to repopulate if it's even removed at all. So you want to make sure that you're updating them with the most accurate information. Now, if you follow me on TikTok, then you'll know that I did that video that talks about the enhanced personal information update, which shows you the relationship between addresses that you have on your credit file and what accounts they are tied to help you with the disputing process. I typically use Experian when I'm doing the enhanced personal information update. Please, it's a pretty convoluted process, so definitely watch that video. Instagram, I'll post it for you guys once I get off live. And Facebook, I'll put it in the Facebook group for you guys. But I definitely think that if you've had issues previously with removing your personal information from your credit report and you have no idea what accounts these addresses could be tied to, definitely do the enhanced personal information update. It will require a free account with Experian. You do not have to pay for an Experian account, but it will require for you to sign up online with them for an account. And that's what I use to do them. Changing your name, does that affect your score? No, it doesn't affect your score, but it's how they refer to you. So any name that you've ever put on a credit application, that's likely what you'll see when you pull your actual credit report. But it doesn't do anything for your score. Cleaning up your personal information, it just makes it easier once it's time to actually start disputing. It makes it easier for you to dispute because it's harder for them to validate certain information about you. What makes your credit scores go down if no late payment has happened? A lot of things control your credit score. If you've used a little bit more of your credit card this month and just didn't pay down as much, so credit card usage plays a part. If you had an account close, you will lose points for that. If you added a new line of credit, you'll lose points for that. Like, there's a lot that goes into how your credit score is calculated at that point in time when you go check. So it's a lot more than just were you on time with your payments. What are your thoughts on a line of credit? If you're talking about purchasing trade lines, I am dead against that. I do not advertise, advocate, or support the purchase of trade lines. That is the intellectual property of those banks, and the sale or purchase of them are considered a violation of those accounts. So that's one of the reasons why I don't agree with it. And number two, it's no point. It's a temporary fix that a lot of people do to try to boost their score, not realizing that once you get taken off of that account that you paid for because there is an expiration date, you're going to lose all the history associated with that account and your score is going to go right back down. And when that happens, a lot of you don't know this, but lenders have the right to close your account for any reason whatsoever, including if your credit score drops significantly. That is a red flag to them, and they will close your account or significantly lower your credit limit in an effort to protect themselves from, in the event of a loss. So that's just my thoughts on that. If you have a 8K charge-off since 2013 and every month it's been reporting a charge-off, can I still dispute even though the balance is high? I'm scared of getting sued. So here's the thing about not paying a debt. When you don't pay a debt, you always run the risk of being sued. Even if you dispute, you run the risk of being sued. So that's the first thing you got to understand. And then number two, yes, that is grounds for a dispute. If your charge-off is reporting as a charge-off every single month, that is a false manipulation of the date of last activity usually, and you can use that as grounds to initiate a dispute. But likely what's going to happen, and a lot of creditors are catching on to this because they know that right now a lot of people are working on their credit, so they do stuff like this to trigger you into disputing, and they'll fix it because they have, whenever you initiate a dispute, the creditor then has an obligation to update or remove. Update being the first option, and then if they cannot update the information, then they must remove the information because it hasn't been validated. And so likely what will happen when you go to dispute and you say, hey, this is reporting inaccurately, you need to change it, they'll make the change that you're asking for right then and there. And now you validated that debt and reset the statute of limitations or how long this company has to sue you. So a lot of them tend to make little small mistakes that will trigger you to do a dispute right before something's about to either fall off or if the statute of limitations is about to expire. So that's something you should consider. But yes, that is grounds for a dispute. I'm looking for the letter to follow up the debt validation letter when they only send a bill. That's the not what I asked for letter in the Facebook group, Nate. So if you go in the Facebook group, you can send the that's not what I asked for letter, which pretty much says, listen, thank you for responding, but you did not send me what I specifically requested. When you're doing a debt validation, remember, a bill is not a proper debt validation. A proper debt validation shows the relationship between you and the original creditor and provides the paperwork that you signed that kind of tied you to that debt. All right, let's see. Readdresses. If I claimed addresses for kids' school district, can I now claim I never lived there? If they do not, let me put it like this. If they do not have any evidence that you actually physically lived at that address, then yes, you can have it removed. But 2013 passed the statute of limitations for Florida, and it's still in the reporting. So here's the thing about statute of limitations. Anything can reset that. If they called you and you answered the phone and verified that you are the party they were looking for at that phone number, that is considered a debt validation, and that can reset the statute of limitations. If you ever sent in a dispute on Credit Karma or Experian or anything like that, that can reset the statute of limitations. But also that false manipulation of the date of last activity that they have technically been doing, that could also reset the statute of limitations depending on how it's reporting. So that is why legally they may not be past the statute of limitations, because they keep saying that they've had updates to the account and they keep reporting it as a charge off every month. That false manipulation of the date of last activity, that is why it is a violation of the FCRA, and you can use that for a removal, because that false manipulation is just extending the life of how long they have to sue you. So that's also something you got to take into account. How likely are you to get sued for defaulting on a loan? It depends on who they sell your debt to, or who they just like, who's pursuing your account at the time, if it's worth it, so how much you owe, if it's worth taking you to court over, things like that. Like, so much really plays into that decision. So I can't even really accurately answer that question. My bank offered me a personal line of credit or a credit card. Would the credit card be better? That depends on your spending habits. That's really a preference question. Some people use the personal line of credit and then they'll just transfer that money to their debit card and they use it like that and just make the payments like that. Some people prefer credit cards because, you know, the credit card, they can just swipe or whatever. It's really preference. Look at your spending habits and look at what will benefit you the most, and then you'll make that decision. Do you have a favorite credit card for those just starting out and trying to build credit? My favorite credit card? I don't have a favorite credit card, but I do have like some that I suggest to people who are just starting out. It really depends on what your income is. So like if you're like a college student that does not have consistent income, then I always suggest like prepaid credit cards like the Chime card, or the extra card, the Credit Sesame Cash card. Those kind of cards are really cool because they don't report credit utilization, but they do report purchases that you've made as on-time payment history, so that you're still adding something to your credit profile, right? And how it works is whatever money you put into those accounts, that then becomes your credit limit, and then you'll spend it like that. So there's no monthly payment you'll have to make. There's nothing you'll have to pay back. It's always whatever you put into the account. Now, if you have consistent income and you're ready, you feel like you're ready for the responsibility of a credit card, like an actual credit card, then I always say first start at your home bank. They know you the best. They know your income and your expenses and things like that, and they probably could offer you the best deals. From there, I say Capital One, Discover. Those are two really good banks to get started with. Credit unions are always ideal, right? Credit unions always usually offer the most for bang for your buck. But that's not to say that you should not also establish relationships with large banks like Bank of America and things like that too. So it's really a preference. Look at your goals. So if you are somebody who you travel a lot and you eventually want a credit card that is going to pay you for that travel, right? Then you're going to want to research travel cards. Capital One has the Capital One Venture Card, which is kind of like a starter travel card for most people. So, you know, that could be a bank that you want to establish a relationship with. So go based off of your goals and your current spending habits and kind of make that decision. Oh, what's up, JR Saxophonic? Can I dispute after acknowledging the debt by simply saying I don't have the money right now via phone? No, because that's not a dispute. And once you acknowledge the debt, that has validated that debt, and now you cannot go back and undo that. How long can an unpaid bill be on your credit? The reporting time for a debt is 7 years. That 7 years goes from the date of first delinquency, so that first missed payment that led to the charge off. That is how that date is determined. And the only thing that can reset your reporting time is a payment. Okay, great. I'll start with my credit union then. Always, always, always start with a credit union, y'all. Listen, credit unions usually offer the most bang for your buck because they're usually local. So, like, for example, I'm from Baltimore, so we have like MeQ, CQ. If you work for John Hopkins, you got access to the John Hopkins Credit Union. Northrop Grumman has a credit union. Those credit unions tend to offer the same perks that Navy Federal does, but you don't got to commit fraud to get an account. I know a lot of y'all be so pressed over Navy Federal, but if you are not military affiliated or DoD affiliated or whatever it is that you need to be to get an account, please stop getting accounts with them, because what ultimately ends up happening with Navy Federal is that they do something known as account audits throughout the year, and if your account is ever flagged because they feel as though you gained access to this account fraudulently, then your account will be closed, and then whoever referred you, their account can be closed. So please keep that in mind for those of you who keep talking about you willing to do anything for a Navy Federal account. Just know that you don't have to. There are local credit unions to you that can provide you the same benefits that Navy Federal offers to service members. So that's just like a heads up. What other questions you guys got? Hold on, let me check YouTube for a second. I thought it's 3. Didn't it change to 3, or is that the statutes of limitations? That depends on your state. The statute of limitations is determined by whatever state you lived in when you signed that contract. We are trying to improve my husband's credit, but no, we are receiving information that his ex-wife had accounts using his social security number with her last name. What should we do about these accounts? Okay, so for you and for, let's say, for those of you who are adults now, but maybe your parents had put accounts in your name as a kid and now that's stuck on your credit. If that is you, listen up. This is what you're going to want to do. Your husband or you are going to want to go file a police report. You do not have to point the finger at anybody when you file this police report. You just need to get it on record that you are a victim of identity theft. What you are then going to do is you're going to take a copy of that report. You're going to send it to all 3 of the credit bureaus and let them know. You're just going to write a letter. Hey, I was a victim of identity theft and wanted to provide the bureaus a copy of that report. Now, what you're going to do for every account that you want to dispute using the excuse that you were a victim of identity theft, right? For every account that you want to dispute, you're going to want to reach out to those companies and ask them what is their policy regarding identity theft, because there may be additional paperwork that you have to fill out. However, you are going to go through that entire process with them regarding identity theft. You have to fill out the proper paperwork and have the proper support. So that's going to be that police report that I had you fill out. You're going to want to make sure you keep a copy of that and provide that to them once they ask for it. And then you'll kind of move forward with it like that. And for most of you, especially those of you who like parents opened up accounts in your name, for most of y'all, your birth certificate is enough to support that statement, because they will then see that you were not 18 when that debt was incurred. So it's impossible for you to have been the person who opened that account. And that'll be enough to have the account removed. What about self account? I've read some negative and positive reviews. Your thoughts on this account to help rebuild credit? So a lot of times, if you look at the negative reviews that's associated with the self account, the self credit builder loan specifically, a lot of people are adding this to their account not knowing why. This is why it's very dangerous. This is why I tell you guys, when y'all are in these credit repair groups, you got to practice discernment. You got to, listen to all the information that they're saying, but take out the pieces that you don't need, right? Everybody's credit profile is different. Your credit profile is considered a financial fingerprint. So it is as unique to you as your fingerprints are. So what works for one person may not work for you, or what this person needs to rebuild their credit profile may not be what you need. You may not, that person may not have needed a new account on their credit profile. So then when they add itself, it did nothing for their score, because that's not what that person need. This is why it's very important for you guys to understand credit. Like credit literacy is very important, because if you guys are just sending letters and just applying for accounts because somebody told you to do it, you're not really diagnosing your issue with your credit. So then the resolution, the results that you get from these things may not be what you were expecting. Your first step should always be to evaluate your credit profile, see what you're lacking in, see what you need to add, or what are you missing, or where's the slow leak coming from if you just keep losing points, and then make a decision on how to move forward. But only you know what you need for your credit profile by looking at your credit profile. And so I personally, I love self. I have a self account. I have had a self account with these people since like 2015, 14, around that time frame. And how I do it is I set up a loan every year. I usually do it for Christmas, so I'll open it up around like September, and then I'll pay it off. And then, with self, you set how much you want to pay and for how long, up to 2 years. And then once it's paid off, all of the money that you paid into the program, you get that money back, because you paid into a certificate of deposit, not necessarily a loan. It just reports that way to your credit. So I love the self credit builder loan. If you are in need of a short term installment loan on your credit profile, that is a good option for you. All right, let's check Facebook comments. All right, we good on those. Back to TikToks. And then what is the letter to send when they keep reporting a charge off month after month? In the group files, the charge off letter is in there. I think it is labeled as the charge off letter. So you can send that one for that one. All right. Can you get sued by Credit One credit card? I don't remember getting this card. So yes, you can be sued by anybody who says that you owe them money. However, this is why it's important for you guys to show up to court. For most companies, the reason why they end up winning these judgments is because y'all not showing up to court, or you'll hurry up and settle before you go to court, right? So go to court. If you don't remember getting this card, then the same thing that you're doing in these letters, like forcing them to do this debt validation and things like that, you'll do that in court. And if they cannot validate the debt right there in court in front of that judge, then the case will be dismissed and you won't owe anybody anything. Wouldn't your parent get arrested? No, because you're not going to be pointing the finger at them. You're going to be like, look, I don't know who opened this account, but I got proof that it was not me. And that's what the police report is for, even though the police report isn't going to name anybody. And you can, like I said, for those of you who have been victims of your parents opening up things in your name when you were a kid, your birth certificate will suffice as evidence that it wasn't you because you weren't 18. Are credit unions good for bad credit scores? Say mid 500 to low 600. More than your credit score plays into whether or not you get approved for things. So I can't just be like yes or no. It's all about, number one, the relationship you have with that credit union, and number two, what is reporting on your credit report. Because no matter what your score is, there are certain things on your credit report that can automatically disqualify you if a lender looks at it. So for example, you could have an 800 credit score, but if you applied for too many things in a 12-month time period, even if it doesn't affect your score 1,000 times, right? Because I get that question a lot, you can still be denied for too many inquiries in a 12-month time period. Even though it only affects your score once, if you apply for something a bunch of times in like 30 days, you can still be denied for items because you still have too many inquiries in a 12-month time period. I recently got in a car accident and I no longer have the car, but the car loan is affecting my credit. I see that a lot with people who didn't have gap insurance or car insurance. Unfortunately, even though the car is now gone, you still owe that loan. So you have to figure out how to either continue making the payments or pay the car off, but you're still on the hook for that car. And so listen, so let's say so for me, for example, last March I got into a car accident. If you've been following me for a while, then you know I got into a car accident. I totaled my husband's car. However, I still had to make my car payment every month until the lien holder, so, and it was Westlake, until his lien holder officially received all the money, so the gap money, the insurance money, and everything else. Once they did that and everything was closed out, then you'll get a refund check if you overpaid, but you are still obligated to make your car payment even if your car has been totaled until they consider the account settled. What are secure credit cards and does it work? A secure credit card is the same thing as an unsecured credit card. It's just that they tend to have lower limits because you are required to put down a deposit, and that deposit is going to be your credit limit. So that's usually the only difference between a secured and an unsecured card, and that's just because maybe you just don't have the best credit profile, and so they need you to put some skin in the game before they'll go ahead and agree to give you an account. So if all you qualify for is secured cards, go for it. I definitely suggest it. Can a paid collection be removed, not only paid to avoid pending court action? It can be removed, but you're at the mercy of that loan of that collection company. So you can ask them nicely to remove it, but they don't have to because you did not negotiate the removal prior to making your payment. Now, if you have collections that you plan on paying and you would like it removed, what you'll do is you'll negotiate something known as a pay to delete, and you'll say, listen, in exchange for whatever you plan on paying these people, I'm asking that you remove this account from my credit profile once the payment has been rendered. And most people be like, oh yeah, sure, because they want the money, right? And then if they tell you no, y'all can keep going back and forth trying to negotiate, and if they just keep telling you no, you'll just settle and then kind of just be stuck with the mark. I thought all cars with the loan had to have comprehensive insurance. Would that not take care of everything? No, not necessarily, because I had full coverage. However, gap insurance, your insurance only covers what they perceive the car to be worth. Your gap insurance is supposed to cover the rest of that. So my car insurance covered, what they perceive the car to be worth. And then I still had a balance owed because what it's worth and what I got the loan for that didn't match up. And so my gap insurance covered the difference, and that kind of took time. And so I was still on the hook for the car payment until they received the gap payment and then closed out the loan. Since collection agencies buy your debt pennies on the dollar, how easy is it to get them to do a pay to delete? It really depends on the company. Some companies have it already in their policies that once you guys pay the full amount for a debt, they'll go ahead and stop reporting to the credit bureaus. And some companies don't have it in their policies and you have to negotiate. And some of them will tell you that we don't do it. So, it's really hit or miss. They didn't want to offer a pay to delete. I mean, that's their prerogative. They do not have to accept your offer or even offer you a pay to delete. That is their prerogative so when it comes to collections, they don't necessarily have a duty to report, so it's really up to them. But as the data furnisher, they have the choice. Do you want to keep reporting or do you want to stop reporting? And if they want to keep reporting, that's their choice and you can't do nothing about it. Unless you can identify an inaccuracy in the way that it's reporting, that ain't coming off. And that's just me being honest with you guys. Just because you want it off, that's usually not good enough to get it off. Thank you for being so informative. You're welcome. All right, making sure I answer everybody's questions. So I know in the past couple of lives I've been talking to you guys about what we have going on next week. For those of you who don't know, next week I will be a panelist on a presentation given by the National Credit Union Association and the FDIC. It's going to be online via WebEx. It's open to the public. I'm personally going to be talking about financial institutions and how you teach financial literacy to youth using social media. That's what I'm going to be speaking about. But the entire presentation is geared towards people who provide employment for youth or financial institutions who are trying to appeal to youth in the world of work. So kids with jobs, pretty much trying to encourage them to get like bank accounts, teach them how to use bank accounts, build credit, things like that. And so I will be talking with NEFI. It's like the National Education for the National something for Financial Education. And I'm going to be speaking with them about how to use social media to educate youth and the proper information that you provide. Make sure you provide the proper information. I'm sorry. So if you guys want to sign up for that, I do have the link. If you click the link in my Instagram or my Instagram or my TikTok bio, if you scroll down, you'll see financial education for youth. You can click on that and register for the webinar. It's next Thursday. I'm super, super, super excited. I cannot wait for you guys to see. It's a lot of information. It's a really good opportunity for me. I really did not see this coming. These are like national organizations that I'm going to be speaking with, big banks and things like that. So I'm super excited, right? I'm super excited to kind of just have that opportunity. So shout out to Chelsea Norton for extending the invitation to me. Like I said, I'm just really excited and really honored to even be a part of that conversation. So if you guys want to register, the link is in my bio, or you can go to my website and click on quick links and you'll see it. Biden reportedly talked about, I knew that was going to come up. Biden reportedly talked about removing all the credit agencies and allowing them to dictate our financial futures. What do you think the likelihood is that will happen? That's not going to happen. So we don't even got to talk about it because it's not going to happen. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau cannot even handle disputes properly. So I know they're not going to be able to make any financial decisions for anybody's future or monitor anybody's credit, anything. The thing about Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion that a lot of people do not understand is that these are private companies. These are not government-owned entities. And so the government has no say in what they do outside of things like making sure they adhere to the FTC laws and things like that. So whatever Joe Biden says is just Joe Biden talking out his ass because he cannot make that happen. And even if something was like that, if you guys wanted that to happen and that's what everybody votes for, you guys got to vote on it. It's got to pass the House, the Senate, the president's got to sign off on it. They got to come up with a plan to replace the bureaus. They got to come up with a scoring model. They have to implement it and test it out. So it's going to be decades before we even see any kind of change regarding that. Congratulations. That's super dope. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. But I did post a link. I posted a post on Instagram as well as on Facebook and in the Facebook group for you guys to for you guys to click on it and register. It makes it a lot easier instead of having to go all the way to my website. Hey, I'm holding proper debates and I'd love if you join. Ooh, proper debates about what? I would love to. What other credit questions you guys got for me today? I've been trying to go live every day this week. Like, I've really been trying to do it. I've been doing good so far. You guys know I was on vacation. I missed you guys. Low key. So I know y'all got some questions. What questions y'all got? Anything. Topics are open. Everyone gets 3 rounds and then closing statements. That reminds me. So, fun fact, right? When I was in high school, I was the captain of the debate team in middle and high school, and that sounds very similar to what we used to do. Shout out, I don't even know if it's still around, but shout out to the Baltimore Urban Debate League. I will forever be indebted to you all for the charismatic skills that I have, because that was my entire life from middle school to like about to go to college. Everybody thought I was going to go to Towson and like take that debate stuff farther. Everybody was shocked when I joined the army. Can you speak about credit mix? So, and what this person is referring to is like, so when it comes to how your credit score is calculated, it's broken down into percentages. And mix of accounts or credit mix is 10% of your credit score. And what that means is you got to have a well-rounded credit profile, because your credit score and your credit report is supposed to be like a representation, a physical representation of your ability to pay bills, right? But in order to judge you on that ability to pay bills, you got to have bills to pay. But you want to make sure that you have a good mix of bills, not just credit cards, not just loans. You want to show them that you pay all of your bills. And so you want to have a good mix of credit. Remember, there's 3 types of credit. There's installment loans, revolving lines of credit, which tends to be like your lines of credit or your credit cards. And then there are charge accounts. Not a lot of people have those. If you do have a charge card, you know exactly what I'm talking about, or a gas card. Usually how those work is they work just like a credit card, right? You would swipe your card. It's just that at the end of the billing cycle, any money that you spent during that billing cycle is due. You don't just make like that payment on it, you pay it off. What's that student debt forgiveness I keep getting calls about? So please be careful with that, because that actually could be a scheme and a scam. If you ever have any questions regarding whether or not you qualify for student loan forgiveness, you always want to reach out to your loan servicer. That is the best people who could give you any information regarding whether or not you qualify for student loan forgiveness, or if they're even doing student loan forgiveness. Portfolio recovery is the toughest, FYI. Oh, for pay to deletes. Best way to handle late payments on a closed account. Honestly, you're at the mercy of the lender when the account is closed. Well, you're at the mercy of the lender regardless when it comes to late payments. If the account is closed, first step is to always ask. You never lose points for asking questions. So you'll always say, hey, you guys are reporting a late payment. Can you change that to pay as agreed? Thank you. And if they tell you, no, we're not, because we're reporting it accurately, then what you're going to do is you're going to request a copy of your payment history, and you're going to force them to prove that you were in fact late. Now, if they do prove you were late, then unfortunately you're stuck with that late payment. And then you need to shift your thinking from, okay, I couldn't get it removed. Let's see if I can bury this late payment in positive reporting account history so that it distracts lenders. It's showing that I did not have a history of late payments. However, I had a little bump in the road, but since then I've had no issues. So that's how you would go about doing that. Da 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 da. Removing old addresses, how to. So we talked about that a little in the beginning of the live. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. And I use my platform to teach you guys how to do all this stuff yourself. Hold on, I gotta look at the time because I hear my son. All right. So when removing old addresses, old names, phone numbers, and things like that, the biggest thing that you want to realize is that you got to provide some kind of shadow of a doubt on the information in order to get it removed. You got to be able to like distract them. So you can't just call and be like, it wasn't me, right? Sometimes that works for some people and that's cool, but for some people that's not going to work. So the biggest thing is going to be, first, you need to be able to be like, listen, this address that's reporting, this is my aunt's address, right? Or this is my cousin's address. I have no idea how this ended up on my credit file. However, that ain't my house, right? So I think I am a victim of a merged credit file, right? That's scary to them because the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that it is illegal for them to report inaccurate information, because inaccurate information can be of detriment to you. And so if you can put a shadow of a doubt on the information that they have reporting, then that's going to work in your favor and they'll likely remove it because they don't want to be in violation of the law. That leads to like fines and stuff like that. What's this? Oh, wow. Let's see. Everybody slacking on giving likes. This is such a good informational life. Y'all need to put in likes. I bet that seat cushion smells like farts and regrets. It smells like your mama's breath. I keep telling y'all stop playing with me. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something real quick, right? Before I go back to answering questions. I don't have to do this. I genuinely do not. I do this because I care. I do this because even if you cannot afford to pay someone for credit repair and credit repair services, right? That don't mean you don't deserve good credit. So all this information and stuff that I have that I could be charging y'all hundreds and thousands of dollars, right, to give to y'all, I do it for free, right? I do it for free. So comments like that, don't piss me off, sir. Please don't. I really don't want to block you, but I'll do it because I'm a business owner first, but I'm a city girl immediately the fuck after, and I will cuss you out on this live, and I don't care. That's just that on that. So anyway, thoughts about the Navy Federal Pledge loan hack. When y'all be talking about these little Navy Federal hacks and stuff, I don't pay no mind to it. I really don't. I don't. You won't need a hack if you fix your credit the right way. You see what I'm saying? So I really don't pay no mind to these hacks or these tricks because if you build your credit the right way and if you if you focus on rebuilding after you have problems, you won't need a hack or something like that to kind of, get these accounts. Please don't pay them no mind. We love you. Oh, I love y'all too. What's your website to start getting services? So my TikTok name is themoneyplug.co. That is actually my website. Or you could click the link in my bio and that'll take you straight to my website. If I sign up for your audit, is it an inquiry on my file? No, because whenever you check your credit, that doesn't count as an inquiry against you. You might see it as a soft inquiry, but remember, soft inquiries play no part in your score or your profile. That's just something for you to see who's been peeking at your credit, right? So, and how it works is I see your credit through you. So if you have credit monitoring and you have a digital copy of your credit report, you'll give me that digital copy so I can look at it. It's like a PDF or something. Or if you have like Smart Credit or Identity IQ, then I'll be able to pull it up in my system and look at it like that. And it won't count as like you applying for credit. It just counts as you looked at your credit. And they can't charge you points or add an inquiry to your file just because you checked your credit. Something a family member used my social, now I have a collection. So if you can prove that it wasn't you, you don't even got to tell who it was. As long you just got to remember, cast a shadow of a doubt on the account. That's what you're trying to do. Cast a shadow of a doubt on your account. So you'll file a police report because you have been a victim of identity theft. So you'll file a police report and you'll provide the bureaus all a copy of that police report. You're welcome. So you'll give them all a copy of that, and then you will reach out to the company and say, hey, I was a victim of identity theft. What is your processes regarding identity theft, and what additional paperwork do I have to fill out at this time? And then you'll fill that out or whatever, and then you'll move forward with those steps like that. I paid $60 for a local nonprofit agency, and they didn't give any info. This is way more than that. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm not wrong. I promise y'all I'm not. And it's so funny because I tell people this all the time. The difference between me and a lot of the credit literacy content creators that you'll see on this platform is that not only am I saying things in these videos, but I have evidence to back up the things that I'm saying. I'm actually engaging with y'all in my comments and answering your questions. One of the biggest red flags when you guys are following these credit literacy content creators or FinTok influencers, right? That you want to look for is what are they saying in the comments? If they just keep saying text credit or DM me, that's not really answering the question, and that's a huge red flag because why can't you provide the information in a place where everybody can see it, right? So that's one of the biggest red flags for you guys following a lot of people. And then do they ever show you what they're talking about? You'll see all those people repeating the same script. The FCRA states that you don't have to pay none of these items back. Okay, show me in the FCRA where it state that. And they will never be able to show it to you because it does not exist. So, not only am I providing you guys the information, but I also teach you guys where to find it yourself. And I put the importance on you all to understand what it is I'm talking about. You guys need to know where to find this information. Yeah, I've memorized a lot of it, but it's not about that. It's about I at least know where to find it, even if I haven't memorized it. And that's what's important. Can you file a police report for identity theft that happened 2 years ago, or is that too late? That's not too late. That's not too late. Oh, the biggest FinTok content creator is toxic and blocks anyone pointing out red flags. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yo, I got blocked by this guy, and it was weird. Like, this black dude. Now, I do have a series on my page, right? So if you look at my page and it has a playlist, I do have a playlist that states how to catch a credit guru. And it's where I expose some of the credit literacy content creators here on the app and the misinformation that they put out. But I had never said nothing about this guy, and he straight up blocked me. And the only reason I found out is because somebody tried to tag him in one of my videos. And when I went to his page, I couldn't see nothing. But I was like, everybody else was like, oh, I see all his videos. And I'm like, yo, what? Like, what did I do to you? Would you ever recommend doing a bankruptcy for a past repo or eviction? So I do not advise on bankruptcies. I stay away from that conversation because I am not a bankruptcy lawyer. So I don't know all of the ramifications that are tied to a decision like that, but I do know that it is, a really big decision to make. So I don't advise on stuff like that. But I tell people that only you know what you can handle financially. Only you know what you can afford to pay back or what you just gonna have to kind of chuck up as a loss. But I do suggest that you reach out to a bankruptcy lawyer before like making any big decision like that. So we could just tap into the website, themoneyplug.co, and pay you for your service, and you'll clean our credit. So I offer 2 services, right? So it really just depends. Number one, it depends on where you live, because in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to provide for-profit credit repair services if you are not a nonprofit organization, a lawyer, or a real estate broker, not a real estate agent. So if you live in the state of Georgia, I cannot give you full service credit repair. However, if you are not in the state of Georgia, I do provide full service credit repair for my clients. Now, if you do live in the state of Georgia, or if you are somebody who just wants to fix your credit yourself, I offer a separate service known as a credit audit. A credit audit is where you and I sit down. I do all of my appointments on Zoom. We sit down on Zoom and we go over your entire credit profile from top to bottom, from the personal information to the creditor contact information. And I tell you exactly what's wrong with your profile, what you need to hyper focus on, the letters you need to be sending, some responses you might typically see, how to respond to those, as well as credit building, because a lot of people really don't understand how credit building works, but you need to be able to evaluate and diagnose your credit profile before you start building credit, because you need to see exactly what you need for your profile, because what everybody else is doing in these Facebook groups might not be what you need. So I also give you tips that are specific to you and your credit profile on how to rebuild. That is a separate service. If you're signing up for credit repair services, you do not need to sign up for a credit audit. That's just for y'all. That's for the people who want to do like the DIY. And I also have a Facebook group. I don't know if you guys are in the Facebook group. The Facebook group is called Plugged In, the Credit Clubhouse. Or you can search my business on Facebook, The Money Plug, LLC, and you'll see my picture. It's the same username. The same user picture. And you can go under groups and you'll see it on there. And you can join in there. I got some free letters in the group files. I'm always live in there. I always try to answer as many questions as possible in the group and things like that. So that's also an option for those of you who are DIYing your credit repair. What's the difference between a play to delete and it being removed for fraud? The difference is So if something is removed for fraud, that means you don't owe it. And they'll stop reporting on it, I guess. I mean, a removal is a removal. However, a permanent removal is usually when you pay the debt, right? That's the only way you can guarantee a permanent removal. Even if something is removed due to fraud, do you know that company can then like sell that debt to somebody else, and then you're gonna have to start the dispute process all over again with them? Like, it really just, if it's a collection. So if it's a charge off, then no. But if it's a collection, yes, that can and likely will happen. A lot of people will get the removal and think that that's the end of it, but what they don't realize is that company can now sell that debt to somebody else, and now this company is going to try their hand in attempting to get you to collect on this debt. So, the only guaranteed removal out of those 2 options is going to be to pay to delete. It's going to be a guaranteed removal, and it's not going to come back. I just don't want to go through a police report. Well, then you don't want to prove identity theft. I'm a victim of a merged credit account. I've called for maintenance, but they're still reporting. So then you need to provide information that shows that the information that they are reporting on you is inaccurate. You just got to provide that evidence. And then I would even go as far as to file an identity theft report, because it's popping up on your credit profile. So it could be that somebody used your name or used your address or used something about you. Thank you for the rose. They use something about you, something that you report to credit bureaus when you're applying for things. And so that's why that is kind of getting sent over to your credit file. Let me go back to YouTube. Have you played any bingo yet? No, girl, I haven't had time. Oh, I'm lying. I played bingo on the cruise ship. I did play bingo. When disputing, 30 to 45 days is the time frame to receive a response from the credit bureaus, right? From credit bureaus and creditors. So like they have 45 business days to respond to any requests for an investigation. Girl, I love your energy. We need to do another Zoom. Question: do you recommend a gas card to add to your credit profile? Some say retail and gas cards don't help your credit profile. Your thoughts? So listen, if the credit card reports to all three credit bureaus, then it helps your credit profile. A lot of people don't like retail cards simply because some of them don't report utilization, and then some of them aren't useful because they're not using it. So for me, I got a Children's Place card, and it reports to all three bureaus, and it's gonna report some activity because I got 1,000 kids in here. So yeah, it's gonna report some activity. You see what I'm saying? But like if I had a Macy's card or a J.C. Penney card, I don't shop there, so it's not gonna have any activity, and it's not gonna be of any benefit to me. Now I have not seen people who've had gas cards for their personal credit, but for those of you who are aspiring business owners or you already have a business, having a gas card in your business name is definitely something that you're going to want to do. When I got mine, it was about 3 months into my credit building journey for my business. I did not have to put my social security number or anything on it. I did not have to be a personal guarantor for the account. And I got a gas card under my business name, so it's under the money plug. It's to my local gas station, and I use it all the time. I know my chances of becoming a homeowner is from all the information you share with us. Oh, yes, get her service. She is bomb. She is the GOAT. She is honest and very informative and communicative. Oh, thank you. For y'all in this live, I'm her client. You want to invest with her because she has invested to genuinely help us out here. Oh, thank you so much, Sandy. Hi, Marquis. Oh, thank you, Marcus. Let's see. Go back to TikTok. Hold on, yeah. I got the Credit Sesame card, but I have read bad reviews about the transfers and deposits. What I will say about Credit Sesame is everybody's experience is different because I haven't had any issues. Y'all know I got that card. I've showed y'all I don't know where the hell my wallet is right now, but I showed y'all my card and I use it, and I've never had any issues out of them whatsoever. I can only speak on my experience though. If other people have had issues, that's something they're gonna have to take up with customer service. I have a letter for a debt in 2014. The debt is not familiar to me. Then you can dispute it because then make them prove that it is you. If you have no recollection of this debt, then they need to provide you every piece of evidence they have that they think ties you to this debt. So the only way to get it off a report is to pay to delete. Now, pay to deletes only work for collections. And that's not the only way to get it off your report, but that is the only way to get it off, make sure it stays off. And it's the only way to get points back when you have a collection. To flat out pay a collection or settle a collection, that's not going to get you any points back, unfortunately. The only way you're going to be able to get those points back is by removing that account from collections. Not sure how to handle it because I'm in the process of looking for a home. Is it reporting on your credit? That's the biggest question. Is it on your credit report? Yeah, we're twins, so everything is messed up. They said because the information is so similar. Yeah, so you'll just have to provide them with proof that the information that they're reporting is not you, and then they'll remove it. But that happens a lot with like junior, seniors, twins. If you guys have the same initials and the same address, that tends to happen a lot. Do you know if it's possible to get a Costco credit card if you're low income but have a good credit score? Yes. However, you might not have like a high credit limit. Hey. Let me check Facebook, make sure I'm answering everybody's questions. Ooh, let me come over to TikTok. Look, if I ain't live nowhere else, y'all know I'm live on TikTok. Let's see. How long should I wait to get a card after establishing net 30? So for your business, I always say it depends on you. So if you are willing to, so y'all know me and I'm real dead set against co-signing, right? So being a personal guarantor for an account for your business is technically you co-signing your business, and I don't encourage that because no, we don't go into business thinking our business is going to fold, but it is an option. Like that can happen. So I don't want you personally taking the hit if your business does fold. And so I typically tell people if you're doing the net 30s and you got all of the net 30, net 60, net 90s, and you have cards that don't require personal guarantors, so like Sam's Club, the gas cards and things like that, that don't require you to co-sign for your business. Once you have all of those, let those sit. Remember, time is also something that plays a part in building your personal credit score as well as your business credit score. So you got to give it time. And then once you're actually generating a credit score for your business, then I would suggest looking into business credit cards and things like that, because by then you have processing history in your business bank account because that is required, right? And so they'll be able to see money coming in, money leaving out. They'll kind of know where you stand. You can provide those documents so that your business can kind of stand on its own feet when it comes to credit and you don't have to co-sign for your business. would this debt show up on my credit report if I reach out to them? It really depends. So if the reporting time has expired, then no, right? And the reporting time for an unpaid debt is determined by the date of first delinquency. So that first missed payment that led to the charge off. If it is greater than 7 years ago, then no, it's not going to populate. But that does not absolve you of any money that you may owe this company just because it's not reporting. That's based off of your statute of limitations. Now, your statute of limitations determines how long a company has to sue you. But even if that expires, a company can still reach out to you and be like, yo, you owe us money. It's just that legally they can't take you to court over it. So if the statute of limitations has expired and it's not reporting and you're trying to buy a house, I would not touch that debt. That's just my professional opinion. However, if you want to settle it, that's your prerogative. But my business part of the one that ruined the card and the credit. Whew, the debt says collection / charge off. Wait, what? Yeah. I don't know what you're trying to say because I guess it filtered your first comment. So I don't know what you're talking about. You got jokes. What are you talking about? If your business messed up a relationship with a bank, you're going to have to pay that off eventually. Just gonna go ahead and let you know that now. And you can always, try someone else to establish a relationship with, since you messed that one up. I don't know what if you got a second half to your comment. You got jokes, but I don't see that either. So I don't know if it was filtered out or what. Let's go back and look at some more. Oh, ho. After following what you said to do regarding building my credit after a bankruptcy, I'm now sitting at a 619. She can start the home buying process. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Let me know when you buy a house. I've been buying everybody plants. Y'all know I'm obsessed with plants. I showed y'all my plant yesterday. I told y'all how my pothos was looking real sad, and I bottom ordered it yesterday and it looks better. But I joined a monthly plant service. They send you a random plant every month, and this month was a rubber plant, so that's been in my window today. Tori, I miss you. The plan is still to come to Dallas though, so I see you got real friends and stuff now. Just save me a seat. That's it. Save me a seat. Somebody go ahead and teach me how to ride a horse and shit if I'm gonna join that trail riding team. No, I'm gonna tell you that now. We ain't got horses where I'm from. Shit. Let's see. Since the pay to delete is for collections, what would I send to get a charge off removed? So here's the thing. Here's the difference between removing charge offs and removing collections. So collections, we try to play on their ability to report and collect on a debt because, when a debt exchanges hands, usually paperwork is lost or they just never receive the paperwork in the first place. However, it's harder when you're going up against the original creditor because you signed the contract with this company. So removing a charge off, the only way to get that off is to be able to identify either an inaccuracy, an error in the way that it's reporting, or a violation of the FCRA. That is the only way to get a charge off removed. With collections, you get a little bit more wiggle room. Question about a collection showing a balance. A collection is going to show a balance. A collection cannot show a past due balance because you cannot have a past due collection. I want to buy a house, but I have over 10 late payments from 2016 to 2017 on my last mortgage. What is my advice? Any advice that I may have? Number one, you can always ask the company to update those. If the company be like, no, because they're reporting accurately, you can always request a copy of your payment history. Thank you, my love. You can always request a copy of your payment history, right? And be like, prove that I was late. And if they can't prove that you were late, then they'll have to update those late payments. Now, if they did prove you were late, then you're just stuck with them. So then your primary focus should be, how can I bury these late payments? Now, remember, the older a late payment is, the less of an effect it has on your score. So that's one thing. And number two, if you've been rebuilding properly since then you'll kind of still be in a decent position. Because you've essentially, they usually say, and it's not an exact science, but they say around 7 on-time payments will bury 1 late payment. So if you've had enough on-time payments to bury those late payments, then you're kind of, you get what I'm saying? Like you're okay. Is there a bureau that normally has the highest score or lowest score? Is Experian normally the highest? I noticed the middle one is considered our true score, right? No. So what you don't realize is that there's 2 separate scoring models, like overall, so Vantage and then FICO. And then FICO in and of itself has multiple scoring models in it. So scoring systems in it. Let me say that. So there's your FICO 2, your FICO 4, and your FICO 5. These are the three scores that you would kind of be tracking if you're looking to buy a home. These are considered your mortgage scores. Then there's your FICO 8 base score, which is your overall ability to pay debt, and your FICO 9, which is your overall ability to pay debt. But then there's your FICO auto score, your FICO credit card score. You know, those scores are judging your ability to pay back a specific type of debt. And then all three bureaus, you also have to understand that every lender does not have to report to all three bureaus, so the scores could vary because of that, as well as, like I said earlier, these companies are all individually owned, like they're private companies. They're not government run, so there's no like precedent, like there's no set rule on how they have to calculate, and they're not going to disclose their exact formula, but the formula does vary between all of the bureaus, and that is why your score varies between all the bureaus usually. Da, 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 da. I paid off the credit cards that I paid off the credit cards that I owe, and they have $0 balance, but they are still showing on my credit report. Is that something you can get removed if I pay for your service? What do you mean get it removed? So are these closed cards? So if these are credit cards that were charged off and then you paid them off, then again, the only way a charge off could come off is by identifying some kind of inaccuracy or some way that it's reporting wrong, right? That's the only way we could get the charge off. Now, if this is an open account, then you don't want a 0% balance, because a zero balance, because that can get your account closed sometimes. Number two, you always want to have something reporting, because credit utilization is 30% of your score. So you wouldn't want to remove that. And with removing charge-offs, I guess I should say this as well. I always preface conversations with clients like this. You guys got to be careful with removing things like student loans and credit cards that you had for a while that eventually ended up getting charged off. And the reason why is because it's adding to the history of your credit report and your credit score. And so removing these accounts, for a lot of people, if you don't have a lot of positive stuff on your credit report, especially, removing these items are more of a detriment than a benefit, because it will change the age of your account history. It's going to change the payment history that you have on your credit report and things like that. So please be cognizant of that. Now, I don't make guarantees. That is illegal to make guarantees. But what I can tell you is that if you're interested in services, if you sign up for credit repair services, and then I'll go over your reports and I'll tell you if I can even help you, if this is a viable partnership, right? Because my biggest thing is I'm not locking you into a contract when I can't do nothing for you. That's a waste of a space. So I'll be able to look at it and kind of give you better details, but I don't really have enough to tell you whether or not this is something that you could get taken off. Lately, I've been seeing people going to websites like LexisNexis and blocking it so that collection agencies cannot verify the accounts. That's not going to help, because what's going to end up happening is that when you go to apply for something, when you go to apply for something, they're going to tell you like, yo, your files are blocked or frozen or whatever the case may be. Can you go unfreeze these so that we can get an accurate depiction of your credit worthiness? You're just hiding it, right? When you freeze your credit profiles or lock your credit profile so that they can't verify debt, you're not tackling the problem. You're handling the symptom. That's like having the flu and only taking a cough drop, right? You're only handling one of the symptoms of this account. You're not necessarily dealing with the entire thing. So I'm not a big fan of that. When you lock your file, is that with all the bureaus reporting? I think it depends on what you're doing. Because, for example, with bankruptcies, you can't really like erase the history of a bankruptcy, but what you can do is you can restrict people's access to reporting your bankruptcy. And so with that, you would like freeze very specific reports so that they cannot verify or even see your bankruptcy. And that's what gets you the removal from like LexisNexis, which will get you the removal from the credit bureaus. But you don't have, like, you wouldn't freeze all of your reports. You would freeze specific reports. So I think it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Thank you for your vet service, Black Warrior. And I'm looking to attend your services. I'm GS Scott. Oh, yeah, you got to get your credit together. Yeah, hit me up. I'm here for you. That makes sense. It has just been on there for years, even though they are paid. Yeah. So the reason why, like when you pay off charge-offs, the reason why they still report, and it's not like a collection where you can get a pay to delete, is because these companies have what is known as a duty to report. These companies have to report the history associated with the accounts, not just the charged-off status. Whereas a collection company is just going to report the fact that you owe them this amount of money. There is no history associated with the account, right? Because you didn't have a history with the collection company. You had a history with the original creditor. And so they're going to report all of the history associated with that account. That's why it's not going to just disappear, as opposed to, with the collection, they're only reporting that one amount that you owe. I'm trying to keep my mom from using my name. Oh yeah, so then yeah, you lock all the bureaus. You lock all of the bureaus. and you're gonna need credit monitoring. I honestly suggest identity monitoring. So look into like credit monitoring services like Identity IQ, Smart Credit, LifeLock offers identity monitoring. As somebody who has been a victim of identity theft multiple times, um, credit monitoring is definitely the way to go. It's been what I've been able to use to kind of be on top of my name popping up on the dark web and things like that. It's definitely helped me over the years having these subscriptions. When I signed up for Credit Sesame, it didn't ask how I heard about them. Really? Hmm. Somebody just gave me something and it disappeared. I don't know. Oh, that's hey girl. She sent me 5 roses. Thank you. And listen, y'all go get help. Go get waist beads from her. I ain't got no waist for me to be ordering no waist beads, but her waist beads are so dope. And I'll be sitting there watching her live. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It'd be so like relaxing watching her put the little beads together and stuff. So shout out to Divine Rain waist beads. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Y'all need to be ordering y'all stuff from her because it's so pretty. I ain't got no waist to be buying none, but that's literally happened to me with Spectrum, but Spectrum doesn't check when people sign up. You're so welcome. Let's check Facebook. Nah, you know we forever, baby. I'll bring you to the guy who teaching me how to ride. Yes, I want to learn how to ride a horse. Listen, I'm coming down to Texas soon. I definitely said I'm coming down soon. As soon as I get another little break in my schedule. Why are collection agencies texting now? So this is a very good question. I'm so glad you asked. So last year there were a lot of changes made to the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Look, I'm about to get my nerd on. Don't judge me for the Pepsi. This is my first Pepsi and my husband gave it to me, so I'm guessing that means it's okay for me to drink it. Don't judge my life. But anyway, for those of y'all who I have diabetes, and so a lot of my followers been on my neck about like my Pepsi addiction. So that's why I always be trying to clarify that. But there were some changes made to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act because the FDCPA was made around the same time the FCRA was, which is like the 70s, I want to say was the last time it was like any big changes in it. And so much has changed since then, right? We texting now, we got social media now, and so they made changes to the FDCPA in ways that the debt collectors can communicate with us. So they're allowed to hit y'all up on TikTok and Instagram and shit now too. I bet a lot of y'all ain't know that. They can hit you up on social media now. They can text you. They can email you. And there are now regulations that dictate how often they can contact you using these electronic mediums and how to rescind your consent to contact you in these manners. So please, this is another reason why it's very important for y'all to know y'all state and y'all federal laws regarding being a consumer. But girl, yes, they can definitely comment on your pictures like, hey, big head. Let me check all the comments. Hey girl, about time you came back to work. Okay, listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I missed y'all though. I ain't even gonna hold you. I've been so busy this week trying to catch up on emails, messages from clients and stuff like that. Like, whoo. But I love it. I love it. What other questions y'all got for me? Let's talk about debt validation right quick because somebody asked a question and I talked about it, but then we kind of like moved on to the next thing. So a debt validation is when you reach out to people, right? And be like, listen, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you're saying that I owe you money, but I have no recollection of this debt. Can you send me all the evidence that you have that ties me to this debt? And so you send them this letter. And so a lot of times what they'll try to send you back is a bill. A bill is not a proper debt validation. A bill just says that somebody owes somebody some money. A proper debt validation is not only going to a proper debt validation is not only going to break down what the amount is, like, you know, where that amount was calculated from, but it's also going to demonstrate your relationship to the debt. So it's usually like a copy of a contract that you signed with the original creditor or something like that, that where you agreed to pay that money. If they cannot prove your relationship between you and that creditor and that amount, then that is not a debt validation. I love your Capital One better not comment big head on my pics. Is it true they are deleting medical debt? So it's not that they're deleting medical debt. There are changes in how medical debt is going to report. So if you have medical debt that's less than $500, that's no longer going to report to the credit bureaus. They're going to wait longer now to even report medical debt. And they're also, once you pay medical debt, it's automatically going to stop reporting. I love your content, by the way. I'm very appreciative of this help. Oh, you're so welcome. Get yourself a big cup of ice and only drink half of that Pepsi and throw the other half away so you want. That's what I do. I never drink all of these ever. Um, back in my day, listen, back when I was on Pepsi, I could drink a 2 liter in a day, but I've calmed down a whole lot with the sugary drinks and stuff like that. Off topic, but how long have you had your locks? This past January made 5 years, and they're really long too. They come like down here. I want to say, yeah, like right here. Uh, AK for life. I'm thinking that your comment got filtered because I only see start the dispute period over. That's all I see. Oh yeah, that's all I see. So I need you to put the beginning part of your question again. There are new laws about, yes, there's new laws about how medical debt reports. My shit got deleted from LVNV. So okay, so that's a good thing. Two things could have happened. It means they investigating, or it means that they've realized that they don't have what they need to report on this debt. Either way, you should receive something in the mail that explains why it was removed. Is it? Yeah, I already answered that. Imagine having a collection and you on vacation. Oh, so you can afford this, but not pay us. Yeah. When I tell you I would die, could I send a debt validation letter to get a collection / charge off my credit? Yes. So, okay, or would you do a pay to delete? So remember, pay to deletes only work with collections. So if you have a collection that you're trying to get removed, this is the order in which you should be sending your letters. So first, you should do your personal information update letter. Always send that to all 3 of the bureaus to make sure you've cleaned that section up. After you do that, you're going to wait a little bit. Then you're going to send, if you are willing to pay, you're going to send a pay to delete letter to the collection company. And you're going to say, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report. And I'm not saying that this is a valid debt, but what I am saying is I need this shit off my credit today. So in exchange for X amount of dollars that I'm willing to give you, will you stop reporting to the credit bureaus? And they're going to respond. They're either going to say, yeah, sure, give me the money, or they're going to say no. If they say no, then you'll do a debt validation. You'll say, okay, well, since you didn't want to agree, now I want you to prove that I owe this money. So now you're going to do the debt validation. If they cannot validate that debt, then they're going to let you know that. And they're going to say, you know what? We're not going to report on this no more. You have a nice day. Likely what's going to end up happening, though, is that they're just going to sell that debt to somebody else. And you're going to have to start the dispute process all over again. Usually, though, that second time, I provide them with a copy of all the correspondence from the original company so that they see that they don't have what it takes to report on this debt. And then I'll offer them a pay to delete negotiation again. And because they know that they're not going to legally be able to report on this debt if I dispute it, they usually take it. Now, if they do validate that debt, your only option is to settle. Any advice on how to rid of late payments for federal student loans? Federal student loans play by a different set of rules. So the first and only advice I can give you, outside of maybe forcing them to prove you were late, is to contact your loan servicer, because they usually have programs that will help you rehabilitate your student loans instead of just removing them, right? So definitely contact your loan servicer. Y'all, our weather has been 75 and sunny for like 3 days. Where is these clouds coming from? Any advice on how to already incident? How much should I offer? So when I'm working with clients, I always offer 20% of whatever the debt is. It doesn't matter what the debt is. I always start the negotiations at 20% because it is a negotiation. So I'm gonna start off as low as possible because I'm pretty sure they're going to counter. And I don't want them counter at 100% out the gate. So I just start pretty low. A debt was paid and accepted by the original creditor, but is being reported by a collection agency. When I dispute, do I disclose? So yes, it's illegal to collect on a paid debt. And so if you have proof that you already paid that debt, you'll provide them with that proof, and then they will cease reporting and attempting to collect on that debt. What about method of validation letters? So method of validation letters is usually if you started your dispute process with the credit bureaus. A lot of people have been kind of cutting them out of the process lately because they're just taking too long to respond. And for most people who are doing collections, I typically say you don't have to start with the bureaus. That's really up to you. But the bureaus, let me tell you something. The level of responsibility that the credit bureaus have is like little to none. But most people start there just in case they can get it removed in that first round. But if you're willing to pay the collection, you can skip all that shit and just go straight to that company. That's why I didn't mention it. But method of validation letters, for those of you who don't know, validation and verifying and validating are two different things, right? And so when you start your dispute process with a credit bureau, right? The first letter after your personal information update is going to be the bureau reinvestigation letter. And you're asking them to take a look at how these accounts are reporting to you and verify that this information is reporting accurately. And so then what the credit bureaus does is they reach out to the companies and say, hey, I need you to validate your debt and verify if it's reporting the right way. So then all they're checking is the verification. They're not checking the validation. So then the bureaus are going to come back and say, yes, this information has been verified, that this is the information they meant to tell us. They're not verifying that the actual account is valid. They're verifying that the company meant to report the information in this manner. Now, if you receive a verification letter saying, yes, that is verified, then you'll send the MOV. And it's not a validation, it's the method of verification letter. I knew what you meant, though. So the method of verification letter is like, who did you talk to verify this information? And then that would start the conversation between you and the creditor, because obviously that's who they talk to. But that's where that letter kind of comes in. But it's a method of verification letter. I knew what you meant, though. But now you don't need a method of validation letter, because when you do a debt validation, you're asking for very specific information from them. And it's usually going to have like the letterhead from the original creditor or something tying the original creditor into it. So you wouldn't even need to send a method of validation letter, because you know exactly where the information came from. I had to close a Capital One secured card. Should I reopen it? If Capital One is a second chance lender, so if they are extending you an offer to get a new account with them, I would suggest it. They are a really good bank to have a relationship with. Okay, so to do this in one fell swoop, just pay to delete. Yeah. It's been a week and a half and the TransUnion still haven't gotten my dispute from the tracker. Should I send another? Yes. Are medical debt different? Yes. What do you do if a creditor never responds? So I got a couple escalations of force. So if I send the first couple letters and like y'all just not answering me, I'm gonna send a certified. If certified ain't getting me no responses, I'm gonna send a certified signature request. If I send a certified signature request and I'm still ain't getting shit, then I'm gonna file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because there's no excuse at this point. You gotta have a plethora of evidence though. So you can't just send it certified signature request the first time. Oh, they didn't respond. Oh my God. You gotta go through the process, y'all. And that's how you get that. My bad. Oh, you good. Do those texts from collectors start the dispute period over if the agency never replied? So let's say you send in a letter and they text you about your debt. That still does not reset no time period, because the debt has not been validated. The only thing that will reset your statute of limitations is, legally, is if you initiate contact with them and provide them some sort of new information that they didn't have previously to add to your account, and the account has been valid. Like, it has to still be a valid account. So if that account has not been validated, but you initiated contact, that's not grounds for a reset of the statute of limitations, because they have not validated that account. You can only reset the statute of limitations on a valid debt. All right. Oh, I'm doing good with the questions. Wait, how long have I been live? All right, for about an hour. All right, I'm gonna give y'all like another 10-15 minutes. What other questions y'all got for me before I close it on out for the day? Oof. No more questions? Y'all know me. If I ain't got no more questions, I'm getting the hell off. I still haven't posted a TikTok for the day, so I'm actually going to get off and post a TikTok and an Instagram, because I don't think I've posted a reel in a while. Yeah, no problem. This is what I do. So if you guys were late to the live, or if you haven't been able to stay the whole time and you was trying to come back and pop back in, this live was recorded. You'll be able to go back and check it on my YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? You can also find it in my Facebook page, as well as in my Facebook group, Plugged in the Credit Clubhouse. What's in your day package? I don't have no day package. What are you talking about, Willis? But yeah, so I appreciate you I'm definitely gonna tap in with you. Yeah, for sure. Definitely getting your audience. Listen, come on, get on the calendar. This is literally what I do all day, as I answer you guys' questions. So if you guys have, what's in your DIY? I don't have a DIY package anymore. I used to do assisted DIY, but I mean, I don't do that anymore. If you want to audit, that's one thing. Or you can join the Facebook group and I can answer all your questions in there too. Like I'm always answering questions in the Facebook group. What if a debt collector is reporting the same debt every month on the credit report? What can I do? So it depends. If they legally are able to report it, then nothing, but pay it. Now, if they are doing, like, a lot of times what I'll see is like they'll keep reporting every single month that the account is charged off. That's a false manipulation of the date of last activity, and that is grounds for a dispute. So you would initiate a dispute, but that's not necessarily, that may not get you a removal. That's just grounds for the dispute. So you gotta, what does the audit entail? So the credit audit is where you and I sit down. We'll sit down on Zoom. It's about a 60-minute appointment. This is where you and I scrub your entire credit report from top to bottom, from your personal information all the way down to the creditor contact information. I tell you exactly what's wrong with your profile, how to fix it, what letters should you be sending, what responses you might see, how to respond to those responses, and I give you building tips that I think will help your specific profile as far as credit building. Because remember, a lot of you are not practicing discernment when it comes to the information you're seeing in these credit repair groups. Y'all see everybody else applying for a card, so you won't apply for it because you think it's going to do for you what it did for them, and that's not always the case. You need to be able to accurately diagnose your issue before adding new accounts to your credit profile. And so for most people who are doing the DIY process, this kind of helps guide them in the right direction. And so that is a service that I offer. Or if you do not live in the state of Georgia, then you can sign up for credit repair services. Even if you are a repair client, I am really, really big on making sure you guys understand the processes, understanding why we're making certain decisions. I require like monthly check-ins, and stuff like that for my clients. So, the details are all on my website, as well as all of the prices associated with all of the services I provide. And then there are web forms for you guys to fill out to sign up for services. Somebody said, "Hey, Skinny." So that means you know me since high school, but I don't know what your name is. Hold on. Oh my God! I'm about to follow you back. I have not talked to you in forever. We have got to talk. I have not talked to you in forever. Hey, how are we gonna talk? We is gonna talk. We is gonna talk. I can't believe it. Look at God. But I'm getting off of here, guys. I've been live for about an hour. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for the support. Listen, if y'all could just show your girl some support and sign up for the presentation I'm giving next week. And for those of you who missed it, I am going to be a panelist on a presentation that is co-hosted by the FDIC and the National Credit Union Association. So that's going to be going on next week. I have the link to register for the WebEx webinar, whatever you want to call it. If you click the link in my bio, that'll take you to my website, and you'll see a little button that says Financial Literacy for Youth. That is the button to sign up. Please sign up. Even if you don't show up, right? Sign up. You never know, man. Like, just support it. All I'm asking for is a little support. You know what I'm saying? I'm rebuilding, and it is working. I increased my score in 1 year about 100 points. A lot of people, and then I'm going to say this, and then I am going to get off for real. A lot of people sign up for credit repair, right? And they think because something didn't come off that it didn't work. But when done properly, right? Especially my system, if you do the system properly, even if absolutely positively nothing comes off your credit report, if that means you are still building properly in the meantime, and you will still see an increase, it just won't be as fast. So there's no point in time when you should be like, I don't see nothing happening to my credit. That means you're not doing something that you're supposed to be doing. Rebuilding is always your responsibility for your credit. I tell people all the time, just throwing money at repair isn't going to fix your credit. The rebuilding is the most important part, because even if items come off your credit, you still have to rebuild in the process if you want to recapture a lot of those points. So please keep that in mind. Whether you sign up with me or somebody else, it doesn't matter. That rebuilding is the most important part when it comes to credit repair, you guys. So if you can't commit to rebuilding properly, then credit repair is not for you. That with your help, that audit was eye-opening. I'm so glad. I love hearing that from you. Listen, girl, go leave me a review on Google. Listen, if at any point in time during this live I've provided you all with any good information, you learned anything, go drop a review on Google. I do have a Google My Business page, the Money Plug, LLC. I should be the one popping up. I think it's a picture of me, my puff boss. But I'll pop up. Leave a review. Let people know. I really want to get the word out so that people know you don't have to pay for credit repair to have good credit. You can do the audit, and then I'll just guide you in the right direction. Or even if you just follow me on social media, even if you've never talked to me personally, following me on social media can really change your life. I know, because I've gotten so many emails and letters and things like that. So, saying that people who follow me, I've changed their life. Sorry if you've already said this, but I sent a settle to delete and haven't heard back. Send another one. If they ain't respond, send another one. This time, send it certified. Like I always tell people, escalate it every time you resend a letter. So send it regular that first time, then send it certified, then send certified signature requests. You know what I'm saying? To escalate it, and then take all of the correspondence that you have and their lack of a response, and you can use that to file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All right, but no, for real, I'm really gonna get out of here. I've been live for over an hour now. Let me make sure. I didn't see this question. Hold up. Do debt collectors have to notify you before they put a collection on your credit? Yes, but let me say this way. Yes, they have to send something out in the mail saying, "Hey, we purchased your debt. You want to enter into what's known as the dunning period." So, hey, we purchased your debt. You have 30 days from the date on this letter to dispute this account. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and put it on your credit. However, they usually send it to your old address or whatever address was on file with that original company. So you may not always receive it, but they are supposed to initiate contact with you when they have 5 days after, like, within 5 days of them purchasing a debt, they have to send you that letter letting you know that you've entered the dunning period. But that is everything. I answered all the questions. I'm gonna go on and get out of here, y'all. If y'all still have questions, you can drop them in my Q&A on my TikTok page. You can always put it as a comment. I always try to come back and answer as many questions as possible. And you can even email me. I do put my email address in my TikTok bio. My email address is markiab@themoneyplug.co. So MARKIA and the letter B at themoneyplug.co. And you can always go back and rewatch this live on my YouTube channel at WWTMPD what would the money plug do? I was supposed to say at. WWTMPD, what would the money plug do is the name of my YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. The only way I'm able to keep providing this information is for free is because I get paid for likes and shares and subscribes and stuff like that. So hook a sister up. But y'all know what I always say, live every day like it's your last, but wear condoms and pay your bills just in case it's not. And I will see all of you tomorrow for our regularly scheduled weekly live. But bye, everybody.